You should now be in your teams. Looks like coordinated chaos from up here. So welcome back. This session, we have a lot to go through. This is probably the biggest session of the whole 4 days. It's certainly the longest session. And I'm going to be teaching you about, we talked about to master our life and to master finances, we must first master our what? Master ourselves, master our emotions. So we're going to look at how do we be more emotionally intelligent. I'm going to share with you and give you in this session some emotional tools that you can walk out of here and add to your emotional toolbox. Simple, practical strategies that you can use every day in your life that can make a big difference. For instance, let me ask you a question. Who here would like to be able to develop some skills in the next few hours that would help you eliminate procrastination out of your lives forever? Raise your hand, make some noise. So that's one of the skills we're going to look at. Also, who here would like to become a better decision maker? Raise your hand. So we'll look at some skills, what helps you make a better decision, what causes you make decisions. And so we're also going to look at how to get a greater sense of urgency about your life. What I notice with people that I've studied that have been the most successful, often it's not that they're more intelligent. For instance, when you get to, I've had the privilege, in recent times to spend some time with Richard Branson. He was a person that was a role model, a mentor of mine for many years. I'd read his books, who's read any of Richard Branson's books, or who knows of Richard Branson? Okay, the Virgin group of companies. So he was someone in business that I looked up to, and was someone that I'd read a lot about his books, etc., over a lot of years before I ever got the chance to meet and learn from him in person. Now, when you first meet someone like Richard Branson, now Richard is one of the only entrepreneurs on the planet that has built over 8 separate billion-dollar companies. Now, most people would be happy. Who'd be happy with just $1 billion company, okay? To be able to build $8 billion companies in different, diverse industries is unheard of. No one's ever done it before. So he's recognized as one of the world's greatest entrepreneurs, and rightly so. And now, the interesting thing is, Richard's had more failures than successes. He's got probably 300 or 400 companies. The large majority of Virgin companies have actually lost money and not been successful. Yet overall, he's been hugely successful. So in other words, you see the recipe to be successful, you have to fail more times than others. Does that make sense? He's had a lot of business ideas except that haven't worked, but who figures if you get 8 that really do work, that's okay? Okay, you're going to do pretty well out of it. So the point is, you have to fail on a bigger scale, and that's what Richard's done. He's failed in a bigger scale, but that's led to more success, and he's been able to learn from that. Now, you don't have to be, look at someone like Richard. When you get to meet him, most people underestimate him because he's very down to earth. He doesn't seem overly intelligent. No offense to Richard, but he doesn't seem like seems the most intelligent person, but he's very intelligent when it comes to what we call the true definition of intelligence. Is Richard Branson someone that is able to entertain new ideas, yes or no? So Albert Einstein would say, well, academically, he mightn't have PhDs from universities or colleges because he dropped out of school early, but he does have the true definition of intelligence. He's not only able to entertain a new idea, but he's certainly able to action ideas. Is that true? So what the ability is the ability to overcome procrastination, have a strong sense of urgency. So successful people you study, what you'll find is that they don't wait for tomorrow. If they're going to do something, they do it now. They seize an idea and they actually do something about it. They don't just talk about it, or one day we'll do this, they actually just do it. Who's following what I'm saying here? They're people of action. Now, some people say, well, I would do things as well if I knew it was going to work. But that's different. You're never going to know whether something's going to work for sure. You actually have to make a decision and progress. And when you have awareness and you're open to learning, then you guide yourself what works, what doesn't work. So one of the keys to being successful, jot this down. The word you're after is, jot this down. The word is sensory acuity. What the hell does that mean, Jamie? It means this. It means having acute senses. In other words, you need to be acutely aware of what's going on around you. You need to be able to recognize what is working and what is not to be successful. You need to have the awareness and acute senses to know what is working and what is not. What is working in your life and what isn't. What is working in businesses, in careers, what works, what doesn't. Because unless you know what's working and what isn't, you can't change course. Make sense? So you want to become an observer of success, an observer of human psychology, to notice, why do some people far outperform others? Why do some people grow up in the same family, go to same schools, same economy, same opportunity, where some people completely outperform and others don't? And the difference is the subtle things. It's been the subtle differences that lead to success. Some years ago, I get invited out occasionally to play golf by semi-professional golfers often. And what they're looking for is people that will financially back them. Now, I'm not the world's greatest golfer. Okay, golf is not probably my best sport. I play it rarely, and I do my best. Okay, so interesting story. Getting invited out to play golf many years ago. There's a semi-professional golfer. He's probably making about $100,000 a year, and it was great because when you can play against someone. See, here's the key: if I want to become a better golfer, should I play with someone that's at my standard, or should I play with someone that's much better than me? It's obvious, isn't it? Like if Leighton Hewitt wants to become a better tennis player, if we played with Leighton, our game should improve. For him, it'd be easy to coach us. Say, look, change this, change your serve, hold your racket differently, face this way, move your legs, okay, watch for this. He'd be able to give finer distinctions that would dramatically improve our game. But if he just played at our standard with us, our game will get better, but what will happen to his game? His game will go down, is it true? If he wants to improve his game, who does he need to play with? Roger Federer, Nadal, etc., players that are ranked above him. Making sense? Because that's going to raise his standards. And if he's acutely aware, you ever notice in a tennis match, one player can be flogging the other and then the game can turn. And what's happened is the person's getting beat is going, my strategy's not working. My game plan is not working, or I'm not following my game plan. One of the two things is happening. You're not following the game plan, or you are following the game plan and it's not working. So if you keep on doing the same thing and expect a different result, that's the definition of what? Insanity. So they have to have acute senses to recognize, okay, something's not working. And then to recognize, well, what specifically isn't working? So I'm going to have to change and change my approach. So in the middle of a match, they're able to then change approach, and maybe they have to start serving some slower serves or some top spin, or move to the net quicker. Okay? Or just change something about their game to see whether that would produce a different result. And then have to have acuter senses. Is that working? Is it not? Now in sport, it's pretty easy to know what's working because we have a scoreboard. Is that true? And it tells you pretty clearly how you're performing. But in many areas of life, we don't have that clear scoreboard. So we could be unaware of what's working and what's not. We need to know whether we're winning the game or not and what is working so we can change our approach. So it's the slight little differences. So when I'm playing golf with this semi-professional, I asked him, I said, what's the difference between a golfer that makes, say, $100,000 a year and someone making $1 million a year? He said, Jamie, you know what's interesting? Most people think it's this huge difference. He said, all it is about one shot over every 18 holes. If you get that one shot better, the difference between people making 10 times their income, $1 million a year, to someone making $100,000 a year. It's not a gigantic improvement in their game. It's that little bit better. And in life and in money, it's the same thing. If you become exponentially better, just a little bit better than everyone else, then the rewards are tenfold. And that's the way money works as well. You just have to be that little bit better. So you don't have to be gigantically better, just that little bit better. And it's continually looking for what are the little things that will improve your game of life, your game in your career, your game in your relationship, your game in your finances, you're in investing. Some of you have a great game and things are working well. Is that true? Now, my suspicion is this. Some of you, in some parts of your life, things work quite well. True? Okay, so let's say you're a health fanatic and you're really healthy, you eat well, you work out, you really put the effort in, and health-wise, you're doing great. But what about if your finances are shit? Who can relate to that? Or some of you going, what if your health is crap and your finances are shit? Who can relate to that? Okay. So in other words, in some areas of our life, we're better than others. Some people have very good relationships because predominantly that's their major focus. So they focus on that area of their life to improve it. And where your focus goes is where things improve. For me, financially, 15 years ago, I decided to focus on that area of my life to improve it. And by focusing on it over time and learning, I was able to improve that area of my life. So to improve different areas of our life just requires the focus. Okay? Just follow what I'm saying here. and the shift in recognizing that, because most of us are a warning in many areas of our life how not to live. Is that true? Think about your life. Are you a warning of how to live or an example of how to live? Now, in some areas of your life, you honestly go, you know what, in some areas I'd be an example. Other areas you probably go, actually, I'd probably be a warning in some areas. Is that true? Who's following what I'm saying here? Okay? We want to be an example as opposed to a warning. And no one's perfect. No one's expected to be perfect. But in other words, how do we take our game to the next level? So it's just a little difference that can have an exponential return. Okay? So before, what I forgot to finish telling you was above the line and below the line. Did we lose our... Guys, don't rip off my pages, okay? So above the line. Below the line was what? Who can tell me? Denial, blame, and excuses. So if we're into that, we're living the game of life below the line. Above the line, we need to be what? Accountable for our actions. Okay? We need to be responsible. Accountable and responsible for our actions. And knowing every action has a consequence. And we need to have two things, the two A's. We need to have the ability to take action. People above the line, living above the line, have the ability to take action. They're consistently making things happen with their life. And the other A that I alerted to this morning was what? Awareness. In other words, they're able to have sensory acuity to recognize when something's working and something's not. Where they know, like halfway through a game of tennis, you're getting beat, got to change either improve my game plan as far as stick to it better, so the execution of your strategy's got to be better, or your strategy's not working. Okay? And if your strategy's not working, change the strategy. So it's like Thomas Edison, inventing electricity, inventing the light bulb. Did you know the story? He had almost 10,000 failures. Most people would give up after the first go. Actually, most people wouldn't even have a go because they think it's impossible. If you think something's impossible, you wouldn't even try. Is that true? So your belief systems are very critical. Your belief systems dictate everything. Okay? So here's one of the keys you want to improve your life. Draw this. What's that? Come on, what is it? It's an iceberg, okay? What do we know about an iceberg? It melts, okay? An iceberg is 2/3 under the water, is that true? So what you see a big iceberg on top, that means it's even a bigger iceberg. So most of the iceberg is underneath. True? So at the top, what we have here is that what we're going to do is improve our life and have more success in our life. There's things that affect that. One we talked about a lot today is beliefs. Is that true? And we'll look at that more. Your beliefs around money. Global beliefs. A lot of you say, well, Jamie, I don't even know what my beliefs are. A fair chance if you haven't reset your belief systems around money, you would have adopted the cultural belief systems. What's called cultural hypnosis. Cultural hypnosis is some of the things I suggested before. If something's too good to be true, that's a cultural belief system that average people have. Now, that belief system that average people have, what result is it going to produce? Average results. True? If you model average people, you will produce average results. It's the easiest way to be mediocre. Just do what everyone else is doing. The common question a lot of people will say, well, if it's that damn simple, why isn't everyone doing it? There's a reason for it. Okay? So in success, what we want to do is we want to be aware of our belief system. Once again, it comes back to awareness and sensory acuity. What are our belief systems? The question is this, do our belief systems empower us or do they disempower us? If they disempower us, so what I changed was my belief system. If something's too good, sounds too good to be true, but probably is, instead of accepting that, I changed it. I wanted to fine-tune it, a little difference, but it changed my life dramatically. I said, if something sounds too good to be true, it possibly is, but I'm going to check out the facts because I don't want to miss a very good opportunity. Make sense? So I just fine-tuned that belief system a bit, and as a result, I've been able to enhance my wealth dramatically. If I didn't change that, I would never become a millionaire. Does that make sense? Because some of the things when I got into property and things that did work really well for me, we have properties that can double in value in a year or two. And if I believe something sounds too good to be true, probably is, and someone said, Jamie, if you buy this property in an X amount of years, it's going to be worth this, I said, oh, no, just don't believe it. Sounds too good to be true. So I would never, that belief system would have stopped me from acting. But because I adapted the belief system and realized that some things are actually can be true and actually can be better than you expect at times in life. True? So I was able to modify my belief system so I was open to possibilities. And as a result of that, I was open-minded enough to pursue wealth. And I look back and go, my God, some things happened so much better than I ever believed were possible. Lucky I had an open belief system. Who's following what I'm saying here? Okay? So other people have a belief system. If it's a high return must equal what? High risk. That is a belief system of average people that produce average results. So you've got to say, do you want to produce average results or above average? If you want above average results, you need to adapt the belief system and model. The fastest way is to model the belief systems of successful people, people that are producing the result you want. The most common question I get in radio interviews or etc. is around, can you really, expect other people to be successful? Is it that easy for the average person to become successful? And I explain to them, well, the average person can become much wealthier or can become much more successful, but the key is they've got to stop being average. Because being average is what's holding them back. They've got to do something differently. They've got to think outside the box. And they sometimes ask, well, how do you become wealthy? Well, I said the first thing I teach people is very simple. What I say to teenagers, let's see if we can figure this out, folks. If you want to become rich, tell me, who should you study? Poor people, A, poor people, B, rich people. B, it's rich people. Now, I can teach teenagers this, and they get it straight away. Teaching fully matured adults, and they're like, can I have the questions again, please? It's not actually that difficult. If we want to be rich, we should study rich or poor people. It's blatantly obvious. So let's look in Australian society why most people aren't as rich as they'd like to be. It's pretty obvious. They are modeling, not even realizing they're modeling, they're copying poor people. Average person's taught to go and see an accountant or a financial planner. Is that true? Most financial planners are not successful investors. Actually, almost none of them are. I was asked this question, actually, I was interviewed by Morningstar. Morningstar is this huge American organization that rates managed funds. And they showed me the questions they wanted to do before they interviewed me. And they said, and one of the questions was, Jamie, we've read your book and you make a comment that you've never met anyone that's become wealthy yet that did it by from learning from a financial planner. And I checked with them. I said, because these guys, Morningstar, don't represent financial planners, but they list the managed funds, which for their whole financial planning industry. So I checked with them. I said, do you really want me to answer this question? They said, yeah, we don't care. We're not attached. Either way, you can say whatever you want. I said, okay, you said I could. So I told people that. I said, yeah, it's true. I've never, out of all my people that I've studied that have been financially successful, my whole peer group, and I have a great peer group of great friends, many of them have made their millions in their 20s, late 20s, or 30s. Okay? Now, if you're going to become rich, when would you rather be rich? 30 or 40 or 80 or 90? Imagine being rich at 86. No offense if you're 86 and you're not rich yet, still set the goal. It's better than nothing. The point is, does money have more value when you're younger, yes or no? Yeah, much more value because you've got the chance to utilize and maximize it. Okay? Now, I was sharing an important story just before that. Where was I up to? TV question. So I said that. I said, it's true. I don't know anyone that has studied successful. My whole peer group that have become millionaires at a young age, not one of them has said how they become rich was they went and saw a financial planner, and that's what made me rich. I don't know anyone that's done that. I'm sure there's some people have done it. But I said, that's just the truth. It's not the way that I've done it and other people have done it. Why? Because the average financial planner is not rich. So how could they teach us how to become rich? They can't teach what they don't know. So I said, my mentor said, Jamie, go and see them if you want, but you're thinking in the back of your mind as you're thinking about what they're sharing with you, how to become wealthy, you'll be thinking, if they can show me how to live the life I want one day and become wealthy, financially independent, then why haven't they done it themselves? Is that a fair enough question? Not to pick on financial planners, I know there might be a few in the room, etc., but most people in that industry agree with me. Okay? So the point is, if we model failure, or if we model being average, then we can only expect failure or average results. So what I went and sought was people that had produced the result that I want. That's a shortcut to success, modeling. This is what you're doing this weekend. It's what you do by reading books and studying DVDs. In other words, you'll accelerate at learning. What may have taken myself or may have taken my mentors 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years to figure out and learn, you can learn, accelerate at learning. We can compress that knowledge into decades of knowledge into a few short days. Is that exciting? And that's how you learn faster. How I become wealthy at a young age, because age has got nothing to do with it. It's all about knowledge, the right knowledge, and the application of that knowledge. And that's what I'm talking about, the psychology, the ability to take and grasp and implement it into our life. And that's the much harder part. Because there's lots of you to say, well, Jamie, all I need is a knowledge. Does that mean that everyone goes to a financial seminar and gets the right knowledge is going to become rich? Yes or no? No. Because there's no guarantees in life. Is it true? Well, there's no guarantees. And two, the knowledge is only the first part of it. We then have to actually apply it. If all you learned from these 4 days was to get your emotional state right and master your emotions and your psychology, and I taught you no strategies, no financial strategies, I guarantee your chances of walking out of here and being successful financially and in many other areas of your life will be far greater than if all we did for 4 days was teach you financial strategies and no psychology. Does it make sense? The strategies are important, but they're less important than the psychology. The ultimate is to have both. You get them both, then it's amazing what can happen. You'll surprise yourself. You go, shit, I'm good. Because tonight I'm going to have a challenge before we finish this session. You have a little bit of a challenge. We're going to take what I'm teaching you and put it into practice. It's not about theory. It's about how do you apply this to real life. And some of you will surprise yourself. Some of you will break through belief systems and achieve a lot more than you ever give yourself credit for. We as humans have the massive capacity. We only use a fraction of our capacity of intelligence and brilliance that we have. And the whole goal is to use as much of that as possible. There's so much about the human brain and the mind and the capacity that we don't even recognize what we're capable of. True? So, the question for you is, are you living above the line or below the line? Now, the reality for some of you and all of us is that sometimes we probably slip below the line. Is that true? Now, some people are below the line all the time. Blame, excuses, denial. Doesn't help because we're not aware, or we don't have sensory acuity. Being above here is saying the more we can take accountability and responsibility for, even